Hey guys, this is Kevin with Greyline Overland, and we are on a different kind of trip this time. We're on an overlanding trip, yes, but we are kind of doing something a little different. So we have decided to take off in the Mini Cooper for a short overlanding trip to San Francisco. So we'll be camping outside of San Francisco at a campground where we can pitch a tent and everything. We got all our gear that we can carry in the Mini, and we're going to set up a camp outside of San Francisco, and then we're going to travel into San Francisco, see the Golden Gate Bridge. We're going to take you to Alcatraz, some other things along the way that we might have a few things in there that we're not going to tell you right off the bat. It'll be a surprise for later on. But we're going to do some interesting stuff, some good scenic stuff. We're going to see a lot of cool stuff along the way. So stay with us for it, and let's get ready. Hey guys, so we just made it to camp. We are camping in the small tent tonight because that's what you can fit in a Mini Cooper. We're out here doing kind of a budget trip, so we wanted to do what we could to save money on this trip. And what better way than to get almost triple your gas mileage by driving the Mini Cooper out here. It is not your traditional overland vehicle, but it just goes to show that no matter what you got, you can get out and camp and have a good time. It's beautiful out here. We got this nice backdrop of the mountains behind us here. We got a pretty decent camp spot. Just be aware this is BLM land. So if you do come out here, they have shooting that goes on all during the day, and then it'll quiet down as the night goes. But if you have dogs, they do kind of get a little stir crazy whenever they're dealing with the guns and everything. So keep that in mind, but you can do this without all the heavy gear that you have to have for overlanding. Just a tent, a couple of sleeping bags, and a couple pillows, and some clothes, and we're ready to go. So tomorrow we'll be bringing you into San Francisco, and we'll take you on a trip through San Francisco to see the Golden Gate Bridge, and then after that we'll be going to Alcatraz the following day. So let's get it going. We're here in Toomey Hills, around Cheney Ranch, about 2.5 hours outside of San Francisco. Tomorrow we'll drive into San Francisco and start our adventure there.
Alright, so we're at our camp spot and we are settled down. We have the mattress put together, we have the sleeping bags put out, and our equipment secured, the tent secured. And then Kevin went to use the restroom and realized that we have no toilet paper, so he had to go to the store. Luckily, we're not far from the main road, which is I-5. And we can get things from the gas station, food, water, any necessities that we need. So he went back to go get toilet paper so we can use the restroom. There is a bathroom here. It is a good ways down. We just walked to it from the spot that we chose, but there was no toilet paper in there, so that's where Kevin went. And that is something that you should always keep in your car for situations like this. We have some in the Jeep, but we're not in the Jeep, so we were not prepared for that. But just the suggestion, always keep toilet paper, napkins, paper towels, whatever that you can use just in case you have an emergency bathroom situation. But anyways, we're just chilling here and waiting on Kevin to get back. It's just me and the dogs, and it's pretty quiet out here. No one's shooting at the moment, so that's good. I'm very peaceful. So far, we're the only ones out here. I don't see anyone else, so I think we had a few up the road, and they just packed up and left. So we kind of got the whole place to ourselves, basically. It seems like it. There's a lot of trails through here, but we didn't want to venture off too far in my Mini Cooper, so it is not off-road vehicle. But there is BLM land that you can drive with a normal car, not an off-road car. In certain places, you just want to go on IOverlander and look for the spots that you want to go based on, that is the best app, by the way. You just want to look on the spot, and you want to read the comments. That's very important. You want to read the comments of what the person put on there, what kind of vehicle they use. Some people tell you how to get there or tell you how far, give you the coordinates. So if you don't have it already, I suggest you download iOverlander. So it is one of the best apps that we've used. And so far, any camping spot that we have looked for that we haven't, an area that we haven't been before, we've used that app. So it has come in handy, definitely. So thank you for iOverlander community for saving spots and putting comments there. We appreciate it. As you see, we're now crossing the Golden Gate Bridge, and on the right of us is the walkway where you can walk across the Golden Gate Bridge, and on the left side of us is a bicycle way, so you can only ride your bicycle. So they keep the two traffic separated. The only downside about walking across the bridge is that you cannot take your furry friend, so keep that in mind if you decide to visit and see the Golden Gate Bridge. Alright, here is Chinatown. I've been here before, and they have really good restaurants in this area, but we didn't stay in this area very long because we were there during a time of the Chinese New Year, and they were setting off firecrackers, and our dogs were definitely in distress, so we had to leave Chinatown. We just kind of walked through and went to different areas. So but it is, if you decide to visit, please visit this area because there's all kinds of little knick-knack stores and great food. So another place to go visit when you go to San Francisco is Union Square. But unfortunately, it was blocked off when we got there. They were about to have the Chinese parade for the Chinese New Year, so they had this area blocked off for the actual parade, but we did get to see it from afar. Our next part of the journey is at Alcatraz, and I'll let Kevin explain to you about what's going on here.
Of our journey takes us to Alcatraz Island. Alcatraz Island is located about 1.25 miles offshore from San Francisco, California. The small island was developed as a lighthouse, a military fort, and a military prison, and most notably for Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. The strong currents around the island and the cold water temperatures made it almost all but impossible to escape from the island. In November of 1969, Alcatraz was occupied for more than 19 months by Native Americans. Initially, they were all from the San Francisco area, but later were joined by lots of Indians from all over the country. The island's facilities are managed by the National Park Service as a part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. Visitors can reach the island in fewer than 15 minutes by ferry ride from Pier 33, located between San Francisco Ferry Building and the Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. Okay guys, so when you come in, this is what you're greeted with. You're brought in here and you're given your basics, toothbrush, towel, that kind of thing. And then after this, you're paraded out in front of everybody on the cell block and given a cell. Cells are very small. Just get the basics. You get a bed, a little table and chair, toilet, and a place to brush your teeth and wash your hands. That's about it. It truly is hard living. Believe it or not, guys, this is the bigger cells. This was actually considered the luxury accommodations, I guess you would say. The ones that had like mental problems and stuff like that, they would tend to bring here. And right down from here is actually where they would bring the baddest of the bad, which is solitary confinement. And when you're in solitary, you're deprived of all basic human rights as far as like light and things like that. It can get pretty dang dark inside those things. So this gives you an idea of how a typical prisoner would decorate his cell. He'd have a checkerboard, a few things on a shelf, some clean linens, made up bed, that kind of thing. But it really is just the bare necessities. But hey, if you do the crime, you got to do the time, right?
After we left Alcatraz, we decided to head home, and in the next few clips you're going to see what we saw on Highway 1 home. It is gorgeous. If you ever decide to travel north California, or you're north and you want to travel south, I suggest you hug the coast. It is beautiful. We didn't stay at a campsite last night. We stayed in a hotel room so we could shower and get some good rest. And it was free, but we did decide to go camping past Big Sur, and so that's where we're headed to now, and we will fill you in at the end of this video on what happens next.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin. We are concluding our San Francisco trip. It was an amazing trip. Really enjoyed it. There are definitely some challenges that come with scaling everything down and traveling in the Mini, but not things that would keep you from doing it. There are some points that we definitely need to address. We need a heater. That really contributes to the quality of sleep, and the tent didn't quite make it, but we'll get to that here in just a moment. Alcatraz was a blast. That was probably the highlight of the trip for me. Absolutely recommend going to Alcatraz and seeing that, and seeing, taking a step and just into the life of the prisoners there and seeing what they dealt with on a daily basis, how they live in such a small space. It's just unreal. Got to see the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's something that was on my bucket list for sure, and I really appreciated that I could see that. I would like to have been able to walk over it, but just for you, you folks that are traveling with animals, you cannot take your dogs on the Golden Gate Bridge when you do the walk across. So we did forego that and did not get to go across the Golden Gate Bridge on foot. It would have been nice to be able to do that, but didn't want to have to leave the dogs anywhere or anything like that because we didn't have the hotel room yet. So they would have had to sit in the car, and that's not acceptable. But when you go to the Golden Gate Bridge, it's a lot of fun. There's people around there selling food. It's beautiful views, stuff like that. And then on our way back, we went through Big Sur and stuff like that, and you'll see, I'm sure you saw the lighthouse. It was amazing. We wish we had gotten some more footage there, but unfortunately we didn't. And then there was the camping that night, which we didn't have a whole lot of footage of. Actually, we didn't have any footage of because it was such a horrible experience. That was when the tent broke. The wind was unreal. We were camping on the beach, and there was a lot of people around us camping, and everyone, I think, had the same issue, but our tent actually broke. The pole broke, and it was just beating us to death. I was woke up to Ashley fighting the tent and throwing punches at it. I don't know what was going on. It was like she was a woman possessed. I have no clue what was going on there, but I was quick to get out there and try to fix the tent. And then we moved positions, and she couldn't sleep still. And the tent couldn't be fixed. So we ended up packing up all the tent and everything that was broken now, and we headed back home, and we made it home at about 9 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way through the night. It was quite an experience. We were definitely, it was funny, but not right at that moment. It was funny though, and when we look back on it, it was a really great trip. Number one, we were there during Chinese New Year, and that was horrible for the dogs because the fireworks drove them crazy. Chinatown is always going to have fireworks. Keep that in mind if you have your furry friends with you, that they will not like that more than likely. So all in all, though, I think we had a really good time, and we kept our budget. We really did. We stayed within our budget. I think the trip cost us a grand total of $580, but we did get a free night in the hotel because we have stayed in a lot of hotels, so we got a free night in the hotel. But gas up there was like $70. Gas on the way back was a little more because we took the 1 and the 101 back, so it was a little bit longer trip. But other than that, we ate cheap, we stayed within our budget, and we had a great time. So I'd highly recommend going up and seeing the Bay Area if you haven't. It's a lot of fun, and that's about all I have to say about it. And we didn't do any real hard trail riding or anything like that. We got out there in the Mini and just had a good time and saved a bunch of money in gas, because literally that trip would have cost us about $500 to $600 in gas in the Jeep, where it cost us $150 to $200 in the Mini. I think it was around $150, $175, something like that. But it was relatively cheap in the Mini versus the huge expense of getting 12 miles to the gallon in the Jeep. So I highly recommend, if you've got something, doesn't matter what it is, get out there, take a trip, have some fun, enjoy it. And that's all I can say about that. But until next time, this is Kevin with Gray Line Overland, and I hope to see you on the trail.